Hello and welcome to my live stream. I'm trying this for the second time where I am streaming both on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. So we're going to see if I am successful. It looks like we already have some comments. Kaylee says she is the first. Very nice. Good to have you, Kaylee. Those of you watching on Instagram, you can say hello. I'll just have to keep checking down to see how you guys are doing. As you can see from the title here, these are the questions I get asked the most as a dating coach. I'm going to give you 5 questions. These are things that I'm pretty sure you will all want to know if you guys are out there and dating. And like last time, I'm going to give you a bonus, a 6th one, if you are interested, but there is a catch. If I get 5 tips, whether it's coming from the Instagram viewers or YouTube, I will give a 6th question and we'll cover it. And then I will stick around for Q&A. Shava says, I hope you're feeling better. Thank you so much. I went to the doctors. And so I am feeling a lot better. Don't have my voice back all the way yet. And I'm coughing a ton. So hopefully you guys don't get too annoyed, but I'm feeling way, way better than last time. That was like day 1 or 2. Excuse me, during my last show. But I don't have COVID, so that's awesome. Good to know that. And they gave me some steroids, so it's helping a bit. All right, so let's get into it. Real quick, let me know who is watching. Oh, thank you, Kaylee. She said, glad to see you, miss you. Aw, good to see you, Kaylee. Let me know, those of you watching, if you are an OG, this means that you have seen more than one live stream. And if you're a newbie, it means this is your very first time watching a live stream. Let me know if you're an OG or if you are a newbie, and I will give some extra shout outs to the newbies and the OGs. Thank you for sticking around. All right, so let's get into the very first one. We are going to be covering, like I said, the top 5 questions, possibly 6, that women ask, okay? So the first question is about boundaries. Number 1, how do I set boundaries without scaring a man off? Understand that boundaries are just something that you need to have, right? And they are going to scare off guys, but they're going to scare off the wrong guys. Oh, we got a newbie. Pretty Butterfly Girl is joining. Very good to see you. I hope you stick around, love. Also, by the way, if you're watching on Instagram, you can hit the little paper airplane icon at the bottom next to the heart and send this to a friend. If your friend watches live, she can submit her questions at the end, so she'll be glad that you sent it now versus later. But send it to a friend and say, hey, these are the top questions that this dating coach gets asked, and I think you'd like it. You don't have to leave the live stream, okay? So boundaries, you should have boundaries. You should know what those boundaries are. If you don't, this is the type of stuff I help my girls in my coaching session, my coaching program, rather. We identify what our boundaries are, the things that we need. Too many times women go through dating and they just try to appease the man. And what's interesting is a guy who is genuine and authentic, he's going to want you to have boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries, that means any old guy can get to you and he's not going to value you, right? It's like a concert that anybody can get into. You're not going to take it as seriously if it's this free venue versus something that you had to pay for, or there were certain qualifications, or let's say it's a nightclub, you have to dress a certain way. Any old person can't come in off the street. You're going to value it more if you, if there are parameters and guidelines. So never, ever, ever be afraid of having boundaries, because the right guy is going to look at this as the blueprint to sticking around. He's going to want to know, okay, this is where she draws the line. This is where I need to stay within. And they don't see it as a negative thing. Of course, if you have something crazy, that's one thing. But if you just have normal, regular boundaries, they're going to be grateful to know those things, so they know how to stay within bounds. Again, a guy who is not serious about you, he's going to be annoyed that you're doing anything to slow him down and getting what he wants. But you don't want to be with a guy who's only about him and getting what he wants, okay? You want to set the tone early, not like the second he starts talking to you, but when it's appropriate, you could start to mention different boundaries that you have so that it doesn't pop up in the moment, and then that could be a little bit awkward. I also recommend that you use I statements. This will allow you to be direct, but still be feminine. So if you say something like, hey, I'm not very comfortable with, for example, if he says, do you want to come over? I want to cook for you. You could say, hey, I'm not comfortable yet going over there. Would it be okay if we meet somewhere public? I know somebody who was invited on a vacation and she said, hey, I'm not really comfortable traveling with you. This is something that I prefer to do within a relationship. So you're saying what you are okay with, what you are not okay with. You're not shaming him. You're not telling him that he's a bad person for asking. You're just saying, hey, this is the manual that comes with me. Okay, makes sense? Very important, watch his reaction. You will learn so much about men when they are told no. They will reveal themselves a lot, okay? So if you set a very basic boundary and he withdraws, he lashes out, he's going to show you his emotional maturity or lack thereof, okay? How many of you guys watching have given a guy a boundary and he just couldn't handle it? He just acted very poorly, right? That tells you everything that you need to know. So I'm looking at my YouTube comments. Chavis says, I'm an OG. I got the gray in my black and the gray beard to prove it. Love it. Kaylee says, I'm an OG. Yes, she definitely is. Okay, so let's see. And then don't apologize for your standards. Don't come in timid and, worrying you're going to be too much. You're only too much for the wrong guy. And if he's the wrong guy, who cares, right? You're getting clear on what you want so you can get closer and closer to the right guy. The more you're timid about expressing your boundaries, the more you're going to have people around you who are not qualified. And then these guys are just people that you're going to start building an emotional attachment to and are not going to be aligned with you. And so it's just going to be heartache later. So you may as well nip it in the bud and just express what it is that you're looking for. Don't be afraid to have guys walk away, because the guys who walk away are the wrong ones. So it's like being afraid to trim your hair. Well, she's only cutting off the split ends. You can't be so married to the idea that, well, I thought my hair was this long. Well, those are dead ends. You don't want them. They're going to slow down your growth. Okay. If you guys are enjoying this and it's making sense what I'm saying, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys are on YouTube, please like the video. And again, share it with a friend if you think that they will enjoy it. Okay. So let's give an example. Let's say you've been dating a guy for a couple weeks and he seems to just keep calling you really late at night, asking you to come over, and you like hanging out with him. You like talking to him, but you don't like the late night vibe and it feels low-key disrespectful to you. So instead of getting angry and fussing at him, which I see women do this all the time, they fuss, you're never going to get a good response from that. You could say something like, I really like talking to you. I'm just not a late night kind of hangout girl. I'd prefer getting together earlier so we can really connect and I can enjoy myself. You say something like that, you're saying, this is what I would like. And then it puts him in a position to say, okay, I can move forward with that, or I'm not down with that. Okay. So again, boundaries don't scare away the right men. They only get rid of the wrong guys. And if you communicate calmly and early, you can learn a lot from how he reacts. Okay. All right. Now, again, if I get 5 tips from you guys, I will do a 6th question. And these are all great questions. These are the top questions that I get asked. And so if I do get 5, I will stick around. I'll do a Q&A and I'll throw in the bonus question. Okay. So on Instagram, when I go live, you cannot do badges on Instagram when I'm doing it on a streaming platform. So you guys will have to use Cash App if you want to do a tip. But you can go ahead and do that. The information is scrolling below. And if you're on YouTube, it's already built in. You could just use the super chat. But if we get 5 tips before I get to number 5, we will do the 6th one and stick around for the Q&A. You could submit your questions. Okay. All right. So the next question is, when should I text him? Okay. We tend to freak out as women about texting. Oh my God, I don't want to seem too thirsty. I don't want to not show enough interest. So when should I text him? Here's the thing. Texting should be mutual effort. Neither one of you should be doing all of the texting. He should not be doing all the texting. You should not be doing all the texting. And as a rule of thumb, he should be initiating most of the text, but you should be giving him choosing signals, showing him that you are interested back. Okay. And speaking of being interested, communication through text should not be what is building a relationship. Although a lot of the younger kids are doing this, it should just be confirming your interest. Conversation should be had on the phone or in person, because this is where you can hear the intonation in their voice. You can catch on a lot faster if someone's joking or being serious. And so at the very, very beginning, I would not recommend trying to get to know the person through text. It's good for confirming dates, checking in quickly, seeing how they're doing, maybe asking the person how they slept, but not having heart-to-hearts. Okay. Another thing you should think about when you are texting is to match the guy's energy. So you mirror his energy until you start seeing consistent effort. You don't want to overinvest early. Men never need they don't need being pumped up. If they like you, they're going to like you and they're going to communicate. It's not going to be you communicating a bunch and setting the tone that makes it go, oh gosh, I should be texting her. You should be following his lead and mimicking his energy. Okay. Also, I don't want you to look at men as this way to regulate your emotions. So if you're texting a guy and you feel this anxious energy, like, oh my God, I haven't heard from him and this and this and this, that is not a time that you should be texting. You should text when it feels light and fun and you're not driven from the fear of, am I losing this guy? Is he not interested? Am I overly investing? Your energy comes through when you text. So really watch, the energy in which you're coming. So here's an example. You had a date with a guy and you really enjoyed it. And let's say it's the next day. And by the time you're thinking about it, you're like, he hasn't texted me yet. You're reading into it. You're stressing out. So you might have wanted to say, hey, did I do something wrong? Were you not feeling the vibes? Don't do all of that. Come from a fun place and say something like, hey, last night was great. Thanks for the good energy. And then just leave it there. You're not asking him to answer a question. You're just giving information. I had a good time. You're letting him know that this is a positive space. If he wants to continue, you're open to it. And this is confident, this is warm, but it's not coming across as needy. So if he's interested, he'll respond and keep the conversation going. If not, he might give like a one-word answer or just heart, the comment. Okay. We have to pick up on the vibes and follow their energy, match his energy. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. You never want to feel like you're chasing. You never want to feel like you're overextending yourself. The ball should be in the man's court. And of course, we don't double text a man who is not giving us consistent energy. Okay. All right. If you are just tuning in, I am sharing with you the answers to the questions I get asked the most as a dating coach. If you are enjoying it, please go ahead and hit that heart. If you're watching on Instagram, and you can like the video on YouTube, stick around at the end. If I get 5 tips, I will give you guys an extra question, and stick around for Q&A. You guys can ask your questions on the spot. Okay. I got my Cash App information scrolling down below, and on YouTube, they already have the super chat built in. If I missed your tip, just let me know in the comments. I'm usually pretty good about seeing them pop up. Okay. So we are already on number 3. So time is running out, you guys. Question number 3. Should I ask him where we stand? Oof. This is a question that I get all the time. And my answer could kind of go both ways. The reason for this is because typically men who are interested are going to bring it up. You're usually the one that's going to have to slow the guy down a bit. Okay. I always talk about men have the gas pedal, women have the brake pedal. And so typically you're not even going to be in the situation if the guy is super interested. However, clarity is power, right? So you want to have clarity. You don't want to be unsure. And often I say, if it's gray, walk away. But if you really, really, really want to know, make sure that you pay attention to the timing and your tone. Okay. You don't want to sound like you are demanding, expecting, as though you are entitled to, something from him. So pay attention to this. A man who's serious, he's going to give you clues. All right. There's going to be this natural progression. He's going to be consistently talking to you. He's going to be making plans for the future. And he'll probably talk about exclusivity, right? It's very common for a guy to say, hey, are you talking to somebody else? Are you okay with not talking to somebody else? But you could be in this exclusive phase, but still not be in a relationship. So really try to let the connection develop for, I would say, at least a couple of weeks before asking about the future. And again, he probably is going to bring it up first. So you want to ask from a place of self-respect, not desperation. What do I mean by that? When you are self-respecting, you don't just follow a guy mindlessly, right? You want to follow someone who's actually leading you and has clear goals and has expressed what his intentions are. And so, hey, Blondie, good to see you. And so you can ask us from this energy, not from desperation. Oh my God, I want to be with you so bad. Please define it. Okay. So you could say something simple like, I'm really enjoying getting to know you. And I just want to check in. Are we on the same page about where we're headed? I want to make sure I'm not in one place and you're in another. No pressure. I'm just trying to see where your head's at. Keep it light, keep it simple, and then pay attention to his reaction. You cannot be, or his response. You cannot be married to the answer. You cannot be married to, he has to say yes, or I'm going to be devastated. If he deflects, if he avoids the question, that is an answer. Okay. No man who genuinely likes you is going to be confused in that situation. He's going to be very clear. And a lot of times when the girls ask this, because I get this question a lot in my coaching program, the guy is like, I thought we already were in a relationship. Believe it or not, there are still men out here who don't say, do you want to be with me? They just assume that you know that you go together because he's showing up, he's doing all these things, and he's like, I don't do this for everybody. But what the men watching need to know is that there are a lot of guys who will use this as a tactic so that they can get girlfriend energy without actually having to invest. Okay. Excuse me. So let's say you've been dating consistently for 6 weeks. You guys are fairly exclusive, but you haven't clarified the relationship. So you could say something like, I've really been enjoying getting to know you, and where do you see this going? Okay. All right. Let's see. So we're on number 4. Number 4, is it okay to make the first move? Now, there is a difference between taking the lead and initiating and doing what Matthew Hussey calls is dropping a hanky. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of that. You could just say yes if you've heard of that phrase. Dropping the hanky is essentially giving a guy an indication like, hey, I'm alive. All right. Hey, Falake, good to have you. Got all my YouTube veterans here. So what you're doing is basically just saying, hey, I exist, because maybe you wouldn't have been on his radar otherwise. It would be the equivalent of you hearting his profile on a dating app, right? He might not have scrolled and seen you, but from there, you keep it pushing. You just gently let him know you're here, and then you keep going. What makes it awkward is if you linger and pressure, and then it's like, I don't know what to do with this. So you can invite him into your space. You don't pursue him. So how do you invite him in your space? You give him choosing signals. You could smile. Smiling goes a long way. This is why most guys in relationships say, don't be smiling in men's spaces, because that's a cue. It's, hey, come on in. If you have lingering eye contact, big green light for men. Okay. Or if you playfully ask a question. This is why I say the women who are in relationships do not give other men any sort of attention. Even if for you, you're like, it's not a big deal. It wasn't that. For men, they know women do not give them attention, usually, unless they're interested or inviting attention. So you might think your guy is overreacting, but this is the reality is men know these are cues to see if I can approach. So you might not realize that you're giving him the cue, but he's taking it as a cue. Okay. So if there is a spark, let him take the lead. He will take it from there. That's his masculine. It'll kick in. Don't worry about that. Okay. So if you give a guy these choosing signals like smiling, prolonging eye contact, asking him a question, this takes away pressure. It lets him know I'm not going to come across as a creep. It's okay to engage. And also you get to stay in your feminine energy. You don't have to compromise that. Okay. Now let's say if you made your move and you back off and he doesn't engage, don't do anything. You've done your part. There are guys who are like, okay, see you, got it, noted, but they're not interested. There's a story my friend tells, and he's like, I was out somewhere. Someone ordered chicken wings for me. And he's like, I was not attracted to her. So he said, thank you, and then kept it pushing. Now, she might have made it awkward by coming over, trying to talk, trying to see if she gets his phone number, but men are not stupid. If they want to move forward, they will. So if you open the door and he doesn't walk through it, have your dignity and walk away, okay? And you can always deny in your head, well, I didn't really do anything. I was just being nice. Everybody wins, okay? So confidence is attractive. Overdoing it with the effort is not. So you flirt, you're giving that, nonverbal invitation, and then just observe and see how he takes it from there. So let's get into an example. I know you guys like examples. Let's say you're in a coffee shop. You see a guy reading a book that you love. And so instead of awkwardly trying to see if he notices you, you could smile and say, that's one of my favorite books. Are you liking it? And then see what he does from there. So he might just say, yeah, it's great. Go right back to it, right? But if he's interested, he's gonna be like, oh my God, she's pretty. She's talking to me. This is a perfect opportunity. And he's going to go from there. All right. Let's see. We are on number 5, and then we are going to wrap it up from here. Okay. Number 5. What do I say when I don't want to sleep with a man yet? I really want you guys to hear me and hear me clearly when I say this. No man is owed your body. You don't owe a man anything. I don't care what the red pill podcasters say. It's like, I'm taking you on these dates, therefore I should deserve. Nobody deserves your body, just like you don't deserve his money. That is his money. That is your body. Nobody deserves. People give what they want to give, and it should always be consensual, okay? So no man should be taking you on a $200 date, without him consenting. Nobody is forcing him. There's nothing pointed at his head, making you take him out. he should go of his own free will, and therefore he can't resent you afterwards if he doesn't like how it turns out, and vice versa. Okay, everything should be consensual. So if you have oops, I skipped down too far on my notes here. You don't have to explain yourself away. You don't have to apologize. You could simply say, I'm just not ready. That's enough. Okay. If he sits there and he tries to downplay it, or you're being uptight, this and this and this should be the biggest red flag ever. A man who is genuinely interested in you is never going to want to make you uncomfortable. Not when he first meets you, not when you're in a relationship, not if you get married. Real men who are really interested are going to want the woman to be comfortable. Okay. So all you have to say is, I'm not ready. He will respect your pacing. And this is an extra tip. If he's pressuring you or he starts to withdraw because you said no, he's giving you the heads up that that's all he was there for. I asked the men on my men's page, if you really like a woman, do you try to initiate sex? They said, absolutely not. Pretty much they will back off and let her initiate, because they're like, we're just focusing on building the emotional connection, and that time will come. And the men who are smart know, if you don't pressure a woman, she will open up a lot faster. Okay. Hey, don't say you heard it from me. I'm just saying. Okay. So alarm bells should be going off in your head if a man starts to pressure you. And this happens more often than you realize. Men who are watching this understand, maybe you didn't do this, but the majority of men do this. Okay. Especially in the younger years. They are just trying to get what they came for. And so they know that if a woman likes them, all they have to do is make her feel stupid, make her feel silly, make her feel unwanted, whatever. And she will often give in or do more than she was comfortable. Understand, this man does not value you. You are not missing out on your future husband because you said no or said, I'm not ready right now. Okay. Good to have you, Vanessa. I love it. She's always coming with the hit the like energy. I am here for it. Yes. Please hit the like if you are enjoying this. And if you are just coming in on Instagram and you missed the beginning, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. I am recording this both on Instagram and on YouTube at the same time. Okay. So he will respect your pacing if he's a good guy. And the best thing to do is don't wait until it's hot and steamy and you're in the bed rolling around, right? Hoping he doesn't take it any further. You should have this conversation pretty early on. You could bring it up, casually, and just say, hey, what are some boundaries that you have? And of course, he's probably gonna ask you, what are some boundaries that you have? And have the conversation. Don't have it in a steamy place. Okay. That way it's easier to avoid temptation and stick with it. Okay. And also don't put yourself in a position where you could even do that if that's not something that you want. Now you want to be kind. You don't want to sound, like you're preaching at him. You could just say, I really like spending time with you. But I like to move slowly when I'm getting to know someone, or if your boundary is to wait till marriage, I'm saving that for my husband. So I just wanted to be clear up front and let you know where I stand. What are your thoughts on sex, or whatever you want to say. So let's say, for example, let's give an example. Things are heating up. It's after the third date and he's leaning in. He's starting to become more physical than you appreciate. You like him, but you're not ready yet. So you could just say, hey, I like to take things slowly. I just want you to know up front. I want us both to be comfortable. If he responds with understanding and he still wants to see you, he's definitely worth getting to know. And then if he pulls back, well, he's just saved you months of an emotional investment. Okay. Again, you do not owe sex to a man, and you are not withholding. You are just honoring your heart and your body if you are not ready. Okay. All righty, guys. So we are going to wrap there. I do want to give you a couple of things. I've got a brand new freebie. Okay. It's a free guide, 5 ways to make a man feel emotionally safe. This is very important. No man is going to commit to you if he doesn't feel safe. And so a lot of women say, oh, men just don't want to commit. No, they pay attention to signs. And if they see signs that give them pause, or maybe they say altogether, I can't be with this woman, they're not going to move forward. So get this free guide, guide if you've already gotten it. For YouTube, those of you watching on YouTube, you can click in the description down below and get the guide. For those of you on Instagram, today only, it's in my story. Otherwise, if you are watching the replay on another day, that's not Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, you can just go to my Instagram bio and click on there. It's one of the second guides listed, at least right now. Okay. So grab your copy of that. It is free. And once you grab that copy, you're going to be added to my email list. And on my email list, you will get an exclusive invitation in a little while for a free webinar. Okay. I did one a couple of weeks ago and the girls loved it, had a huge turnout. And I have some very exciting news that I shared there. But it's a free webinar on he was enjoying you until you did this, something like that. It's basically first date mistakes. He was into you until you did this. I think that's what it's called. So you will get an exclusive invitation to that if you are on my email list. There's a lot of stuff that I get on my email list that I don't get on my page. Oh, Chavis did a $5 a $5 tip. You make me cough now because he said, close the doors. Y'all, you would know if you watch my YouTube show, but I got to do this for Chavis since he put it on here. That was pretty funny. I'm all messed up because I'm not on my regular. Oh, there we go. I forgot where I had it here. All right, this one's for you, Chavis.
Close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors.
I went through this whole thing without coughing, but when I laugh, I cough. And so thank you so much, Chavis. He did a $5 tip. I appreciate that very, very much. Unfortunately, we didn't get the 5 tips. So 4 more people do a tip before I close out with these announcements. Then we'll do the 6th tip and I'll open it up for Q&A. We did it the last time. We had a lot of fun. But Chavis started it up. He did the first one. So we just need 4 more tips. Those of you on Instagram, you can use Cash App. YouTube, you could just click the button and do a super chat. Okay. So I'll put the banner up one more time since he did that in case 4 more of you want to do that. Otherwise, thank you so much, Chavis, for that. Okay. So where was I? So the free webinar, be on the lookout for that. And then last but not least, we have the dating manual. This is my 8-week coaching program. I have coached over 100 women so far. We have a great time. I cannot guarantee you will get a man doing the course, but I will say that the number of women who get in relationships while in the course or shortly after the course is pretty amazing. I have had women who got engaged since taking the course and they accredit it to the stuff that they've learned. Very, very exciting stuff. There are a lot of things that women are not being taught growing up. Maybe they didn't have a father figure in their life to give them the cheat code. Maybe he just didn't know how to express it, or maybe he was busy. But either way, they didn't get it. So a lot of the stuff I hear in there is, why didn't anyone teach me this sooner? Or, oh my God, I'm the problem. And so it's not about shame. It's about figuring out if you have things that are self-sabotaging. They are harming you in the dating process. There are lots of things that men look for in a woman to see if she is someone he should move forward with. So if you don't understand about choosing signals, you don't understand about reciprocating his energy, that's the number one reason men fall back. They say, I really liked her, but she didn't reciprocate. So I break that down in a very granular way. What does it look like? What should you be doing? I walk you through everything. You guys have what's called Yance in your pocket. You have direct access to me 24/7. I've had girls sneak into the bathroom on dates and text me, oh my God, what do I do in this situation? And so there's a lot of stuff that we do. We go for 8 weeks. You guys get lessons that you can watch for a lifetime. You have lifetime access, and then you get me every week for 2 hours. So there's a lot we've got going on. If you just want more information about that, head on over to my Instagram page and you can click on the dating manual. You'll see what says a discovery call. It's just a free consultation. You and I will hang out for about 30 minutes. I'll give you the full presentation, answer any questions that you have. And then you can decide if it's a good fit for you. But I would love for you, if you are confused about dating, you don't understand men, you are constantly phoning a friend, you're like, what does this mean? Can you interpret this text? Guys keep falling back without committing to you, then this is for you. Okay. I want you to date with confidence. I want you to tap into the feminine energy God gave you, because dating is so much fun once you have that clarity. You will know how to vet men with ease. You will quickly be able to know if you're not aligned with a man, and you'll get really clear on what you need out of a guy. Okay. So we got to raise your standards, raise the bar so you can get the type of guy that you really, really want. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so now. You're going to have a couple seconds at the end to do that, but please let YouTube know that this is the type of content that you want to see. And this is the perfect time to end because I can feel the coughs coming on. I don't know how I'm going to do it tomorrow, y'all. Pray for me. I got a crazy tingle in my throat.